Yo, what's good, you guys? Peek out here in Singapore, and I've been missing for 2 days. But it's not without good reason, I promise. There's been a lot going on, and the more I want to consume content and have conversations and do my work, the more ideas I have, obviously. And a lot of times I write them down because, as much as I want to just go live right on the spot, I don't always have my thoughts together where I can actually, like, really articulate what it is that I'm feeling and what I'm understanding, right? So lately I've been having a conversation with a potential client, and I love her excitement about her work. I love everything she's doing, and I'm really proud of the fact that she is a homeschool mom. She's one of those women that notices that what she had growing up versus what is available right now for her children is still not what it's not at the standard that she'd like to provide for them. So she's trying to create um, her own standards, her own expectations, her own way of doing things. And I actually see that more and more often with the people that are finding that what I do is relevant to them. So speaking to her and trying to help her through a couple of things, I realize more and more that we really are creatures of habit. I fall into the same ruts as well. I like the fact that I know what I'm going to do every day when I wake up, and I like having a schedule. As much as I used to like complain about my mom giving us a schedule in the summer times while we were in school, I was like, what the hell? It's supposed to be summer. I'm supposed to be freewheeling and just chilling, not really having a place to go or a set schedule of things to do. And it would be like homework, and I'd have to go to, like, classes, normally dance class or music class or something like that. And it was like my whole day was kind of planned out for me, and I hated that, right? But now, as an adult, what seemed like a punishment back then actually is a very useful tool that I use at the moment, because I'm not equipped to be an adult the way most people think we should be adults. I don't want to have a schedule, and if I don't give myself a schedule, nothing's going to get done. I will walk past the sink with a bunch of dishes in the sink and kind of ignore that they're there sometimes because I don't feel like washing it, knowing full well that if I just start the process, I'd be finished within a couple of minutes. It's that kind of ridiculous, right? That's adulting at the moment for me. So back to the story, this young lady who is dealing with two young children, and the fact that they are on break at the moment, on vacation, and she's having a little bit of trouble because she wants to make sure that they're okay, but they're away from her for the first time in a long time. So she feels out of place, and the kids are feeling it too. And that's why she's kind of having a tough time of it at the moment. And I feel for her. I totally do. I understand what that's like because I've been through that myself, right, with my own daughter. But the difficulty for me was to figure out why I felt uncomfortable, and then what I could do to teach my daughter to find a semblance of normal wherever she is, whether I'm there or not, so that she could cope and learn to figure out, what that looks like for her while I'm still around, like in the background, basically. So it was one of those moments where I had to relay something that I had learned from my own experiences so that she could understand this is possible for her kids as well. My understanding of parenthood is my child chose me out of, I don't know what, but chose me as her mom, her guide through this life. And my whole job is to prepare her to be able to make decisions with ease without second guessing herself. No matter where she is, whether I'm alive or dead, she will feel confident enough to do what she knows is right and, and best for her. But that also means I really had to learn how to let go a little bit. As much as I wanted to control the people around her and control her environment and make sure that she was happy at all times, I needed sometimes to step back and allow her to experience the world for herself, so she could learn, first of all, to come back and feed back to me what was going on, so she learns to articulate, right? And then also, in that moment, because I'm not there, learn what she can and can't do to help her situation, either to get through it or to make it better than it was before, so it's manageable. So it took a lot of doing. It took a lot of days where I had to leave my daughter with my husband at the time, had to leave my daughter with my stepson's mom sometimes and her family. It took a lot of learning to leave my daughter with my mom for the first time when I first moved back to Singapore, learning to leave her with my brother. all of these people, they're good people in their own right, but not all of them have the same beliefs that I do about parenting, and that was a difficult part for me. I had to learn that while their intentions were good and they had similar values, the execution was not the same as mine, and that had to be okay. And the way I justified it to myself was, when she goes to school, the teacher that teaches her most likely will not teach her the same way I would teach her. Being a homeschool mom, I've figured out how she responds best, what she responds best to, analogies that would work. I would draw in movies that she's seen before so I could help explain what was going on, so she would understand, she'd have a visual picture of what was going on. And that comes from years of spending time with her. The teacher doesn't have that, and she doesn't have one-on-one with her. She has 1 to 25 or 30 kids where she has to just get the information out there and hope to God it sticks somehow. So for me, it took a lot of letting go, a lot of self-control, understanding that the world is going to be the world whether I'm there or not. And for her to be able to function well, for her to be able to make good decisions, she needed a good handle on her own mental health and her emotions so she could decide for herself how best to move through the situation. So, like I said, the family members aren't going to be the same. They're not going to do things the same way. Maybe they make pasta by, putting the noodles in right with the water and boiling it together. And sometimes you boil the water first and then throw the noodles. I don't know. The point is, in the end, you're going to make noodles. But how you make it and what you garnish it with, it's going to be different in each household. So I needed to allow that to happen so she would have something to compare what I'm doing to, so she could also have discussions with me about, I saw this person do it this way. I like it. Do you think we're going to, adapt it to our house as well? So there is a fear of someone might be doing it better than me. Someone might be corrupting her. Someone might be feeding her stupid ideas. But on the same token, I need to trust that whatever I've taught her so far will carry her enough for her to be able to make sound judgment calls in whatever situation she's in. And if she's not in a position where she can make a judgment call, she needs to know who she can trust, that she can ask for help, or at least alert to the situation so she's not alone as well. It takes a lot of doing, you guys. But I really, really, truly believe in this village raises a child concept. Not to say that all of them have the same ideas, all of them have the same way of doing things. That was the way I was raised, right? If I get in trouble in my house, my mom's going to tell my uncles are going to tell me off as well when they see me, and my aunts are going to tell me off when they see me, my cousins are going to tell me off when they see me. It's like reiteration of the same idea. This is not acceptable. No one feels it's acceptable. You need to change your ways. But now that I've lived in the West and lived in the East, and I've seen the different ways that people raise children and the different concepts that are introduced at different ages in a child's life, I need to accept that the world is changing. And no matter what, I need to make sure that whether I'm there or not, my daughter feels comfortable. She's always comfortable in her own skin. She knows when someone is out of line, and she can set her own boundaries. She can ask questions without offending anyone and get the answers that she needs to make whatever decision is before her. So those are the things I'm thinking of. And in that regard, it does take a village to raise a child. My child lives on this earth at this time in history and with these values that are circulating around in general. And she needs to know that she can ask questions, all of those things. So it takes a variety of people, and I may not agree with all of them, but I need her to decide for herself what fits best for her. So it's been a lot of letting go for me because I'm a creature of I get used to certain things, and when people change my schedule, I get upset a little bit because I don't like change all that much, but who does? But it takes me a second, and I adapt to it as well. So yeah, it's not an easy thing. It was really great to be able to talk to this young lady and help her kind of, put her fears aside and realize that everything works for the best. And it really does depend on the mindset you raise your kids with, the mindset that you come into any situation with. Because the last thing we want is to project our own fears and concerns onto our kids, and then they are kind of jaded based on our experiences rather than experiencing life for themselves. So it is a very delicate line, but it is manageable. It can be done. And I just want parents out there to know that the things you're facing, somebody's faced them before. And the way you're handling things, somebody out there is doing it the same way and somebody out there is not. So it doesn't really matter as long as you can find a way to adapt it to the best of your ability for the situation that you're in, and then teach your children how to make really good decisions. So it really does take you knowing yourself, and understanding where your kids are coming from and the kinds of learning that takes place within your kids' minds, and allowing them to question and have those discussions so that they can work out their own feelings about whatever's going on. So this was a little vague tonight. I hope you got the initial, the overall concept, because comfort zones happen for everybody. And as much as we would like to stay within the things that we do know, the things that we think we can control, there's really not as much that we can control. It comes down to what, our being individually. And as much as our kids are our ward, they are our duty to protect, they have their own ideas about stuff, and we need to allow them to try things on and see if they fit. And if they don't, ask questions. And if they do ask questions, and just be open to the conversation. And that's all I'm trying to do here with my own practice, is to open people up to the conversation. The possibility that what you're doing maybe doesn't fit you anymore. What you're doing maybe isn't a good habit for you. What you're doing or believing, maybe there's room for improvement. And that's not to say that you're not perfect the way you are, but there's always room for growth, right? There's always room for things to become more efficient, way easier, because otherwise we'd still be stuck with, getting on horseback to deliver messages or homing pigeons and shit like that. So obviously if technology can improve, so can we. And I just want people to be a little more open-minded so that you can allow things to change you for the better as well. So there it is. That's my plug. If you have questions, if you have concerns, please, by all means, write to me. In the meantime, if you want to hear more about the podcast, hit the notification bell on this page so you will be notified every time I go live. But until then, I hope you have a wonderful night, and I will catch you again here soon. Good night.